The Republican Party is once again talking about how 2024 is just going to go so incredibly well for them. Many Republicans saying they are going to put Donald Trump back in the White House. They're going to take control of the Senate. They're going to extend control in the House of Representatives. They're going to take over some governor's mansions around the country. And yet we are struggling to really find a broad signal that suggests that's going to happen. Reports of the inevitable domination of the Republican Party have been exaggerated in the past, and there is a very bad news signal if you are hoping for such a Republican domination in 2024. Democrats in October raised nearly double the amount of money that Republicans raised. Now, I am not a cheerleader for the status quo of campaign finance. I actually think that the system we have is terrible. I wish we had public financing of elections with a limited election calendar. You can't start them earlier and earlier. I wish we changed the entire thing. But to the extent that we want to look at what information do we have about what might be in the minds of voters, one of the metrics we can consider is who's raising more money, because the party, the candidate that raises more money tends to win in most races. Not always, but overwhelmingly. And look at these numbers. The DNC far outperformed its Republican National Committee counterpart in fundraising in October. Look at these numbers. The latest FEC filings show that the DNC brought in $13.1 million in October compared to only $7.1 million for the RNC. Couple of other numbers. The DNC spent about 16 million and had close to 18 million on hand at the end of the month. The RNC spent 7 million and ended the month with about 9 million. You will notice the RNC is almost $3 million in debt, whereas the DNC is about $238,000 in debt. This is very bad news for Republicans. Now, I know that nothing is over. I know that none of this matters, and we all have to register and we all have to plan to vote. There is no question that when you look at polling, some of the polling doesn't look great for Joe Biden, and how valuable that polling is 11 plus months before the election is a question mark. I'm not ignoring anything when I discuss this, but the fact that Democrats raised almost double what Republicans raised in a single month, this close to the election, when primaries are getting going, et cetera, is not a good sign for Republicans. Now, one of the problems that we describe in the American, it's not the system, but it's the sort of political reality of who voters are, is that very often you have reality and you have many voters completely unaware of that reality. For example, the economy is pretty good, and you have many voters who are saying, no, the economy is actually not good. That is starting to change, and we are going to talk about that on the bonus show today. We do have a situation where it is logical that if you see Democrats, quote, in power, at least to the extent that the president is a Democrat, Democrats control the Senate, and they have a small deficit in the House of Representatives, and you see sustained low unemployment rate, solid GDP numbers, inflation which has come down dramatically, wage growth matching just about any period in history in terms of some of the most rapid wage growth. When you look at that, it's logical to say, oh, things are pretty good. Maybe I should give the people in power a few more years. It's not shocking. It's not controversial. It's what you would expect to see. And yet, as you will see shortly, you have Republicans coming up with new things to blame Joe Biden for economically, because they know they can't talk about the unemployment rate. They know they can't talk about inflation, which is down to 3.2%. So this is actually what we would want to see. We would want to see voters respond accurately to what is happening. I know it's a crazy thing to consider, but that's where we are right now. So very, very good news for Democrats. It is not a guarantee of anything. Everyone must vote. We're all going to be voting. We're all going to be talking about it. But it certainly is a sign that bodes relatively well. Let's now talk about how desperate Republicans are getting in response. So I wrote another book for kids. The first book was Think Like a Detective. The point of the first book was to teach kids critical thinking, which Republicans don't want them to learn, because when kids learn critical thinking, they don't vote for Republicans. The new book is Think Like a Scientist. This is a fun adventure teaching kids the scientific method. Again, Republicans aren't big on kids learning the scientific method because when they do, they're less likely to fall for Republican lies about climate change and vaccines and so many other things. You can get the new book as well as the first one at davidpakman.com/book. This is part of the Adventures in Thinking series. Can you imagine that we're doing this? We are. davidpakman.com/book. 13,500 copies of the first book have sold. I'll bring you an update soon on sales for the second book. Think like a scientist. davidpakman.com/book.